This week in news, you can't get us to shut up. We talk all sorts of stories. Extra, extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast with the most modest people in the industry who you'll never catch bragging at all. I'm the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater if you're on Twitter or Twitch, and joining me is twitch.tv/LMJ the Hitman Landen.
Hello, got some good news today. I am excited. Let's go. I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's a good time in games. Just a good time. I actually been playing games too. It's been crazy.
That sounds fun. I can't really say the same.
Yeah, no, it's the last couple weeks have been pretty hectic, so I'm glad things finally calmed down so I can work on some of that stuff. But that's for later. That's a post-show discussion. This is Extra Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, July 10th, 2022. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom. Let's get to some news. The first news story is that ownership is a lie, right? I think we all know this. Ownership is a lie. This story is on the PlayStation platform. And all of this will be taking place after August 31st of this year. This involves another company, which is Studio Canal. I actually had to look them up, but they are a film production and distribution company, and they own the third largest film library in the world. So far, it only affects German and Austrian users. The first place I got this story was VGC, and VGC did reach out to PlayStation, and as of when I put the doc together, I rechecked, and no word on that. So, 314 pieces of video content are being pulled from people's libraries, even if they've purchased the content. This goes against the statements that PlayStation made last year about when they pulled TV and movie content off the store for purchase. They said it would not affect your library. Well, clearly it does affect your library. So
Clearly.
That's the digital ownership hellscape we live in. What do you think, Landen?
I mean, I know, like, you mentioned that it's, like, Russian and other people, but the thing is, it shouldn't affect it. It shouldn't allow this to happen to anybody. Like, the more they allow, like, little things like this starts happening, the more they can get away with in the future. And honestly, I think they should probably and will most likely get some kind of, like, what do you call that? Not whiplash. Just lashback from the community. Like, there's no way they're not going to be held accountable for something like this. Like, what's the point? You're gonna have to trust people into the digital world. You're wanting us to trust you guys stepping into the digital world with buying, PlayStations and with no disc trays and Xboxes with no disc trays. We need to set the precedence that we're gonna want to stay in your digital world, and we're gonna keep the things that we've bought in the digital world you've set up. It's not okay. It's really not okay. It's actually scary because, I mean, what if one day games aren't nearly as important as they are now, and then you're like, oh, this is expendable, we can just let these things die. I don't care if I'm 60 years old. I still want my shit. Like, I want my digital shit just as much as I want my physical stuff, and that's kind of why I keep a lot more physical stuff. I'm team physical.
Yeah, they've gotten quite a bit of lashback for similar things in the past. Although I'm not familiar with all the, I don't know, I couldn't name these 314 pieces of content, but given the size of this company, I would assume that this that you can find that content around, so it's not necessarily a preservation issue. But yeah, it does suck that, you know, you bought it and they're just like, yoink, you no longer have it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even with games like back in the day with Scott Pilgrim, as long as you had that game downloaded when it was taken off the store, you could still play the game.
Now, can you answer potentially know about this? Like, when they took the movies and stuff off the PlayStation Store a few years back, did they let people keep what they had already bought? Like, do they still have it digitally downloaded and kept?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what they were saying, is that it wouldn't affect your libraries, which is totally a lie at this point.
Yeah. No, who knows when that'll happen? You know what I mean? Like, if they're doing it now, when you know, when's the next time that actually gets the particular audience of, I don't know, just like different areas in the U.S. or not in the U.S., just the world.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this isn't a story that I have included, but I saw it when I was looking through these, and I was like, that's a weird thing. So you know how they just shut off, Nintendo just shut off, like, the 3DS store or whatever? Or they're about to. You can no longer use credit cards there. You can still buy stuff with Nintendo cards or whatever right now. They just turned back on the Wii store and the DSi store. It's like, what?
It's back on?
Yeah, they turned on the Wii store and the 3DS store. They had been shut down since March. And they're like, oh yeah, it was maintenance.
Okay.
It was 4-month-long maintenance.
That's just like what was it? Respawn or somebody, the first people. No, it was Epic Games. They did the crossplay by accident. They turned it on by accident. Xbox and PlayStation weren't playing ball about having crossplay, and Epic Games said it's as easy as flipping a switch. And all the other studios, Xbox and PlayStation, were like, "No, it's not that easy." And then one day, Epic Games is just like, "Whoops!" and it's crossplay for everybody for a day. By accident.
Yeah.
Same thing they did with those servers.
Yeah.
They just accidentally flipped the switch. It's easy as them flipping a switch on and paying a little bit more on the electric bill.
Yeah.
Just keep it on.
They I think Rocket League also said the same thing, where they're like, we literally just have to push a button and we have crossplay. But yeah, so, you know, I, not knowing enough about the Studio Canal situation, I can't speak to the preservation aspect of it, which is what I'm big about. I want there to be a document of all the things that we've had in, you know, as far as movies and TV shows and things available for either future generations or for, you know, other life if they happen to exist and visit, you know. Having that history helps, you know. Here's a fun little short story that I just included. Psychonauts 2, and for those of you keeping track, that was my game of the year last year, is getting a physical release. I wonder if them making a physical release would count as a new release so I can make it my game of the year again.
I mean, if it's just me and you debating it, you can have it if you'd like. I'm not gonna stop you.
Anyway, it was leaked earlier by Amazon. Famous leaker Amazon store. And then was announced officially, as we're recording it today, but for those of you listening when we put it out Thursday. And some of the stuff coming with the physical version is exclusive stickers, art cards. This one I think is really cool. Reversible cover sheet. So there's a second art on the other side of the cover sheet.
I love when games do that.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool.
And then a couple games that do that.
And then a digital download code for behind-the-scenes content will also be included. So you can kind of see
behind the scenes, see how his mad mind works.
Yeah, so I've already played it. I've already, platinumed it, using the PlayStation term for Xbox, but whatever. I've already gotten all the achievements in it. For those of you who don't know that. So I'm still actually playing it too, because on youtube.com/the XofPlays, where you can find this podcast as well, I am currently doing a Let's Play in that game, so I'm still playing it. So yeah, that's nothing but cool for me. What about you?
Well, like I said earlier, physical is the way to go, and some of these, and it was just a digital release, so anytime there's a good an ability to bring digital to physical, I'm all about it. I don't know if you ever heard of the company called Limited Run Games, but I got a couple. Games. I have a couple of games from Limited Run. Like I got Ukulele on Switch physical, and that was only through Limited Run, and it's a pretty good game. It's not wonderful, but it's a pretty good game, and I'm just glad that I own that one physical. But anytime I get a chance to buy one of my favorite games physically, I do. I really didn't think Hades was going to go physical, and I figured it would go to a little bit limited run, but they ended up selling so much of that game, they got that one physical. I got Hades physical on Switch as well. One of my favorite games.
So, I agree with you. I think physical is the way to go. I have not actually bought a physical game since Pokemon Legends Arceus. Back in January. God, it's been that long. So I've not bought I have not bought a lot of physical recently, just because it is so much easier to buy digital. But the one caveat to physical, because some companies do this, some companies, they make their physical version just a key to the digital version. So if they were to shut down the store, you still wouldn't be able to play, if re-download it, even with the physical copy, because the digital version isn't there, so you don't have that. It doesn't actually have the game on the disc, which I think is stupid, but it won't save everything, is the problem, but it saves a lot of things.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about this next story. There's a lot of ranting going on. It's about to unfold, dude. To unfold.
So yeah, it's about to unfold. Forspoken, more like delayed. I was trying to figure out having your I was trying to have a way of leading into that with what you said about it unfolding, and I was like, how can I work Forspoken into unfolding? I don't know. So that was a bit of a non sequitur, but
it's all right. We're learning as we go. It'll get better over time. It'll be great to recall back to our old transitions to our transitions. Down the road.
Yeah.
But Forspoken, more like delayed. Forspoken is delayed. What's the release date?
It originally was set for release in May. Got delayed to October.
Yep.
And now it's January 24th, 2023.
I called this, dude. I've said this on multiple podcasts. The game is going to get delayed, dude. And there's just not enough talked about it. But yeah, go ahead. Say what you're about to say. Yeah. My bad.
You're good. You're good. Square Enix and their the studio Luminos, or Luminous, I guess it is, had this statement. As a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we've made strategic decision to move on the launch date of Forspoken to January 24th, 2023. All game elements are now complete and development is in its final polishing phase. You gotta love when they polish it off. We would like to thank you for your continued support and patience on this journey. Your excitement for the game inspires us every day, and we cannot wait to share more about Forspoken with you later this summer.
Man, so they themselves have said that this game is fairly much done, and they're just adding more polish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why they left October release date. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, if you all don't already know, God of War Ragnarok, I know this is probably most likely already know by the time this is posted, God of War Ragnarok was just announced, and then the next day, this game gets a pushback. Well, it had, what, you said late October, I believe, was the Forspoken release date, like October 23rd. And now January, like, God of War's November 9th. And I just, honestly, like, God of War needs all the breathing room you can get. You don't want to be promoting the crap out of 2 PlayStation exclusives like that. Yeah. It's just not a good idea. And you got, you know, like not God of War, but like Modern Warfare and all kinds of other games going to release this winter. Ghost Protocol, not Ghost Protocol. What is that? Callisto Protocol. That's what I'm thinking of. I got a lot of games to already put up with, so just be an early January game or even late January game, because January games have shown to sell like crazy. Like multiple games this year sold like crazy in the first beginning of the year. So for sure, Forspoken, push yourself back, get some more polish. I'm still excited for that game. I know there's not too much about it, but I'm still excited for that game. And I think we'll get some kind of PlayStation Direct for it at some point soon.
Yeah. You know what would really suck? And I'm not saying that that it's going to be this good, because I don't know if Forspoken's going to be this good. But what would really suck is if they moved it and put all their eggs into this God of War basket, like you're saying, and then God of War cannot beat out Elden Ring for Game of the Year, but Forspoken is the Game of the Year for next year.
That'd be hilarious. So honestly, the Game of the Year, that's what I'll transition to as well, is that Game of the Year cutoff date is November 19th. That gives God of War 10 days to beat Elden Ring, because that is its only competition this year for a fact. Yeah. There's nothing else coming in close to Elden Ring right now. And if God of War, let's just assume that it's just as good and wows everybody like it did the first time. Is 10 days enough to try to steal that spot? I mean, it beat Red Dead in 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2, but God of War came out first and had a lot more time. And Elden Ring has had so much time to just devour the media. It's just everywhere. Anything that's Elden Ring was just popular. Doesn't matter what you're doing on it, what you're talking about it. It's just popular for some reason. So can God of War stick out its thumb and get its and hitchhike its ride to the Game of the Year spot within 10 days? Is that enough?
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be the question.
One's more story driven, so it's hard. It's hard to say. Like, Elden Ring there's basically no story for anybody to grasp at all. Like, unless you dive real deep, and it's not like it's a cinematic story at all. Not even in comparison to God of War. So, I don't know. I'm a huge God of War fan. Like, God of War is kind of getting boring by 3, but, this newer one in 2018 totally just threw me back, put itself in the possible top 5 of my games of all time, potentially. Just storytelling told on a whole different level, and just really heartfelt game. Any game that gives me emotions, dude. Like, a game like if I'm playing a video game and it's making me like tear up or choke a little bit or really get into the moment, or I'm like gasping for air, like, oh my god, if I'm doing that stuff, which it takes a lot for me to happen, and it takes a lot from a movie for that to happen, like I'm impressed. So it's up there, and I'm so excited that it finally has a release date, man. It's gonna be great. I'm taking a day off work for a fact taking a day off work for that boy. So stoked.
Yeah,
So stoked.
I would love nothing more than God of War Twin, because there are Elden Ring fans that, like, I wasn't going to play Elden Ring anyway, but ruined all goodwill I had for Elden Ring. And I just want some of those more annoying fucking piece of shit, from soft fanboys. Oh, this just not get good. I would love nothing more than to watch them cry.
Oh, to lose Game of the Year to God of War?
Yeah, I would love nothing more. But like you said, they have not had the time. Speaking of time, though, Skull and Bones, after all these years, is finally being released.
Wah, wah. Dead on Arrival calling it now, dude. Dead on Arrival.
So this is via cinematic trailer. I knew this was going to be Landen's favorite story.
I love talking about games I can shit on, man. This one's easy to shit on. I feel like a bully when it comes to this game because it's just so easy to pick on it.
Yeah. So the day that they've announced Skull and Bones, hey, speaking of November 9th, how about November 8th for Skull and Bones? They also announced a 7-minute gameplay trailer. Or they also showed a 7-minute gameplay trailer in addition to the cinematic trailer. It was originally set to be released in 2018, but had development rebooted in 2020.
I mean, so, what? Not even a year, 2.5 year dev cycle.
Well, if they used some of the previous assets, they don't necessarily need to.
Fair enough, and a lot of Ubisoft uses that same engine, so they probably got quite a bit of assets to use. I will give them that. I will give them that. But I mean, when it was revealed in 2017, they were like, hey, check out this boat only combat, and people were like, well, we wanted the pirate and Assassin's Creed elements of that too, and they're like, oh, sorry, and they hit it. So if they can come back and be like, oh, here's some more, interactive pirate stuff, not just the boat, but more like personal interactive character stuff, then I think they might have something. But just showing a cinematic trailer, not a good look, man.
Well, I said, they did have 7 minutes of gameplay too.
They did have 7 minutes of gameplay. Well, then what? I haven't seen any of that. I'd have to go take a look at that before I make too much judgment. But I'm gonna just say it's most likely not so good.
Yeah. So my thing is with this is, I wanted people running around, but the boat combat itself looked really, really good, and I liked the idea of it not necessarily being a live service, although I don't think at the time that live service was a term used like it is now. But this definitely, from everything I've heard, now whether that's official or not remains to be seen, but it sounds like a live service style game, and I don't know that I want that. Just give me a single player mode where I'm just a pirate building up, I don't need all this multiplayer. I don't need friends to play with. I don't need friends in general.
Who needs friends, right?
Who needs friends? So yeah. You have anything else to talk about as far as Skull and Bones? Or are you good?
I mean, I might have another opinion next week when I actually watch this gameplay, because for sure I don't want to shit on it too much, but I just haven't been interested in it, and I really don't know how I feel about the whole pirate theme. Like Rare's Sea of Thieves just kind of destroys the market, and you're more likely to get your tie-ins and cool stuff. Like they got Pirates of the Caribbean with Sea of Thieves, and who knows if they can get Pirates of the Caribbean's Disney, like that means they can get other things. So I'm sure Sea of Thieves isn't even close to being done. I'm sure they're gonna have, like, you could do a One Piece tie-in easily with Sea of Thieves. So I feel like Sea of Thieves is gonna continue being the dominant force for pirate stuff, and And yeah, I just don't see Skull and Bones just having the time of day. Ubisoft's also been a whole bunch of L's lately, so I just don't think they're gonna have what it takes to say, hey, come look over here. People might, free to play entry. If it's a free to play entry, people might give it a look. But it's hard to get into a free to play market, especially for a boat game. A boat game.
So
more shitting on that game. Just like you said.
Yeah, it's just we'll see how that looks. That was my entire docket. We spent only like 5 minutes per story, so like I'm now having to pull up more stuff. So that story I referenced earlier, this is from Tom Ivan at VGC. We Shop channel and DSI channel shop are back online after being accessible for almost 4 months. The online marketplaces went offline without prior warning in mid-March. Eurogamer was told that they were undergoing maintenance and would provide an update at a later date. While further explanation for downtime hasn't been provided, the shops are back online again. But the We Shop channel stopped allowing new purchases in 2019. It's just that you can now re-download previously purchased content. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't know, man. I really don't. I just, like you said earlier in the podcast here, it's just, it's a bad, it's just like it's a downhill slope. It's hard to come back up from stuff like this. You know what I mean? It's hard to come back.
Yeah.
It's hard to get, some people can commit, what do you call that? You just get lost notoriety, but suicide. It's like career suicide. That's what I'm thinking of. Like career suicide, when you can do too much and not be able to backpedal, and can make major harm to a brand. Just major harm to a brand.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time. And for these, mega corporations, you think it'd be just a little bit more tiptoeing. And it just, I don't know. These are easy things that it shouldn't be happening. Like these are easy things to fix.
Yeah.
Slipping through the cracks.
Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is since I'm for reference, guys. For most of our stories, I'll use multiple sources, but when I'm pulling them at random, I'll pull from VGC first. So this is Andy Robinson at VGC. And the events company behind PAX, EGX, and Star Wars Celebration and New York Comic Con, ReedPop, will officially take over the running of E3 in 2023. So they're taking over the actual event planning from the ESA, Electronic Software Association, for those of you who don't know what that is. And it'll be the first in-person event, E3, in 4 years. As well as running high-profile events in US and Europe. ReedPop is the owner of the Gamer Network, which runs websites such as previously mentioned Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, VG247, which I don't know what that one is, and Rock Paper Shotgun, and is a partner of VGC. But commenting on the news, ReedPop said that it would welcome back publishers, developers, journalists, content creators, manufacturers, buyers, and licensors, and also highlight digital showcases and feature in-person consumer components. It had claimed it had listened to feedback from the gaming community and would honor what's always worked about the game industry event. So that was a mouthful.
I mean,
you can.
E3 is so expensive.
Oh yeah.
For all the anybody even just attending, it's expensive to go. But for the people who want a show floor space, I mean, it's just outrageous how much they charge. And with them being gone for so long and Jeff Keighley doing his own thing, I wonder if their prices are going to go down to be like, come on in, like, look, when we come back, you know, we want everybody to come back. We're still a good show.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they do run PAX and stuff, and I realize, you know, PAX has had its own share of problems, let's just say. But you know, the ESA isn't a event organizing company. They are essentially, they've helped the video game industry in legal stuff. That's like their bread and butter is. They've, you know, they are spokesperson for the industry, not necessarily an event planner for the industry. So having someone with that event planning experience, you know, should definitely help. Now, the thing I'm worried about is having this in-person event for general consumer, or whatever they said. That's a little worrisome to me, because they did do a year where E3 was open to the public, and it was a shit show. You know, content creators, this day and age, you need content creators there to help, you know, push the stuff. Although you do sometimes have the issue, like with the latest Avengers thing that happened. But you know, they're what people, you know, get their stuff from anymore is content creators. So you have to have them there. Gaming journalists, duh, of course you need them there. And then of course you need the other partners to help sell their product and so forth, and have something other than just games. But yeah, it's it is it's something. I want to say it's going to be good, but I am not willing to make that call yet.
Man, I was such a, like, I mean, young me would be so upset at me right now, because me right now is just like, you know what, Jeff Keighley can do his own thing. I like these digital events. Give me everything just through videos, and it's a lot shorter of an experience, and it's not drawn out for a whole week of me just sitting down watching TV all day long, waiting, you know. But at the same time, my younger self, right? So my younger self, I was so excited for E3 every year. It was on G4 and other channels. It'd be like a 4 or 5 day event, and it would have you would have your, let's just say it would do their Sony event, and you see all the flashing colors. Here's everything we announced. And then after that, you know, you don't have another event till the next day. So right after would be all these in-depth talks with all the developers. This is how as a kid, I learned how the names of all these studios, the directors of all these studios, like the individual game developers. Like, that's how I learned so much about this. I don't know what you're gonna call this. This side of the media, the video game media, and how I became so obsessed. So I loved E3 growing up. It's how I learned. It's how I know so much is like I do, and why I have such a passion for games now has to do with E3. But at the same time, like, is there still a need for it, and just having it exist just because it's a, you know,
a legacy?
Yeah, exactly. A legacy might be enough to just kill it, and you could be killing it for you know, people of the future.
Yeah, I agree with you in the fact that I like the digital stuff of Jeff Keighley's thing, and not to mention,
it can be better. It can be better, but I very much love that style.
Yeah, not to mention, a lot of the stuff that was shown at Summer Game Fest had demos, at least on Steam. I'm not sure the other platforms, but you could play almost everything that was shown at Summer Game Fest. You know, as far as the demos, the one, I say the one, there's, you know, I think pacing could be a little bit better too. Jeff has an issue with either front loading or back loading his shows, and then having some segments run a little too long. But my biggest complaint is, the nice thing about E3 is it's 1 week, everyone's all together, everyone does their whole thing, and then we kind of go back to, like, I don't necessarily like this drawn out, all right, we're going to take, a couple weeks, and then he doesn't have all the people there. Like, I know like EA and PlayStation left E3 in the last couple years, but for the most part, E3, everyone was there.
Yep.
And, Jeff has not had everyone in his showcases or whatever. So, that's the other complaint, is that it's not everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's been how long since Sony's been in E3? Since, like, 2018? Right? Because they, 2019. It was 2019 was the... they didn't show up for 2019. And then when COVID happened, they're just like, obviously, we're not there.
Yeah.
So they just kind of... It's just like, they dipped out, like, right before, like, hey, it's not cool anymore. And now it's not even happening.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember those days of G4 being at, E3 and all that too, and it was a fun thing to watch. Like, oh, look at all these people. Like, at the time, I thought they were just regular people like me. I didn't realize that it was just journalists, because I was a stupid kid. But yeah, it's like, oh, look at all these people that are walking by the G4 stage, where they're doing their broadcasting and doing the rock on, or sticking their tongue out or whatever. It's like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I wish I could be there.
Man, yeah, as a kid, I just want to, like, maybe one day I'll be able to be a part of something like that.
Yeah. And now we kind of are.
Yeah, but I still dream of a day where I'm like, somehow I'm like at one of those events and I just get to walk right up to whatever booth and then talk about whatever content I just watched. That sounds awesome. That sounds wonderful. It sounds like a dream come true.
There is a event that back in the day G4 used to go to. I don't know if they will in their current iteration or not. But there is an event that's nearby to us. I think it might have not happened in 2020, but has happened every year outside of 2020, and is nearby to us and is far superior, because back in the day when G4 was going to all these events, they were talking to some people, and there was this woman who was dressed as like a bar wench, a medieval bar wench.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a ferret in her bosom, a living ferret in her bosom.
Okay.
So it's automatically better, and that's a Gen Con. It's not far away. We can make it. We can do that. That'll be our event that we go to.
Okay. Okay.
Oh boy. We have fun here.
Over here at XofPlays.
Yeah. So.
Jesus Christ. The cat just clawed the shit out of me, jumped in my lap. Jesus.
She's like, you're talking about other animals. How dare you?
Yeah. my heart just like went all the way down to my stomach. Oh my God. Might even be able to hear him purring. I don't know if you can hear him purring. But you need to chill out with the claws.
I think I do hear him purring. That'll be a fun thing. I'll see if I can't leave that in the podcast, like in the audio.
Hey, buddy, you just get right up in the mic there.
So if you like, or even if you didn't like this podcast, be sure to do all of the things, like hitting subscribe and the bell on the youtube.com/the XofPlays. You know what? Hit the like button too. Go ahead.
Yep.
Just do it.
Like the shares. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell your mother's friends.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, we talk about Star Wars sometimes. Your moms might like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. Also, be sure to give it on a high rating on whatever podcast service you use, so you can find the people that like us or don't like us as well. Also, I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefingroom, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.